you might have missed it. Are we on 47 now or 46?
Oh, crap. You had to ask me. I literally was just looking at the feed like right before we did the show because I set up an RSS feeder on my fucking phone.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. So we can't even keep up with the episodes at this point.
I think we're at 45. I think this is 46.
I think you're right. I think this is 46 because I remember typing 45 a week ago. So that's how I keep track of things in my memory.
Like,
is my sense memory, of hitting the keyboard.
Wait, so this is episode 46. So wouldn't this technically be episode 50 since we started on episode 4?
Yes.
Welcome to episode 50.
1 is still coming up.
Right. Eventually, we'll get to it.
Someday we'll get to the first episode.
The first 3 episodes, we'll get to them. One of these days.
Yep. Maybe it'll be a special episode.
There you go.
We'll go back and try and figure out what was happening right before episode 4 and try and talk about that as though it's current. That'll be exciting. So I have not really been playing new games this week.
Me neither.
This week has been 2 old mainstays for me that I'll talk about a little bit. And I think we'll start with the mainstayist. Is that a word? Mainstayist?
Close enough. It is
right,
now.
Sure. Is WoW.
A game we both continue going back to, regardless of... Damn it.
Yeah. Yeah, regardless of time or sense or, any of those types of things.
Feeling of entertainment.
Exactly. I have noticed that if I'm not entertained by it, I will readily drop it like it's hot.
Me too.
So that's fine. But they just dropped their newest patch, which is 6.2. And I've actually been pretty impressed by it. I expected that I would hate it. Like, I kind of was looking at the content they were introducing, which I didn't play through the end of Mists of Pandaria. And I know a lot of our guildmates have been comparing it to that, the Timeless Isle type of thing. Mm-hmm. But I remember going in after, at the end of Mists when I came back. And I remember going into the Timeless Isle and thinking like, I can see how this would get old really quick, which is just, grinding rare mobs and running around. And it was really kind of directionless and pointless.
That's, really where Mist lost me. Cause I was still playing when Timeless Isle was introduced and went there and was like, okay, I'm good. And that's where it lost me until this expansion came out. Yeah.
So the difference is that I've noticed is that rather than being as directionless as the Timeless Isles, this one actually gives you like sets of quests when you go out. And it's still pretty freeform and it's still pretty much like you're rare hunting and doing that kind of thing. But you actually feel like you have areas you can go to. And you have a feeling of like there isn't an end point to your day when you go into this. So to me, it feels like kind of this perfect combination of the free form that was the Timeless Isle and kind of I guess the best way to put it, the grind that is dailies. But it's, like I said, one of the best mixes of both, where you feel like you can keep going, you feel like you can do a whole bunch of stuff. But your dailies don't feel endless. So it's not like Mists where you had, 70 or 80 dailies you could do. There's probably like 6, and you do most of them at the same time in various places. So to me, it's taken what was kind of a dull game, because there was a lot of complaints of people everyone is just spending all of their time in their garrisons. And until this came out, I didn't realize how true that was. I didn't realize how much time I was actually just spending in my garrison doing nothing else. I never went out and explored the world. And now that I'm back out there doing them, like, oh yeah, this is part of why this is fun. This is the world. There's stuff out here. There's reasons to be out here again. And that feels really nice within this game. And it actually feels a lot more social too. Because you have these same objectives, it's much easier to go and find people to do them with you. So I've actually found that we've actually gotten a few new guild members. And if you're interested in joining us, it's guildamicus.org. Go check it out. But we've gotten a few new guild members. And one of the cool things is that it gives us something to do with each other when we're out there, and a way to get used to each other, and a way to, you know, really get to know and meet some of the new people that have joined us, and reconnect with a lot of the older people that, you know, we would meet once a week and then do the raid and then do our own thing for the next, you know, for the next week, whatever that is, which is, you know, logging into your garrison and logging out of it. So actually I was skeptical of this patch, but I'm kind of a fan of everything except the naval stuff, which is just another kind of garrison grind, which isn't interesting and it doesn't really add anything to the game, unfortunately. But it's there and, you know, you kind of have to do it. So, you know, what are you going to do? But it doesn't take up that much time.
Nice, so. Well, yeah, when you have, like, the mission that really killed it for me for the garrison, basically killed the ship missions, was there's actually a mission there that takes 2 days.
Yeah, and actually you find that you're kind of fine with that, because it means that you don't have to go check in for 2 days. So I was actually like, oh, okay. At first I was kind of the same way you were, which is like, oh, come on, 2 days? I don't want to wait 2 days for this thing. And I'm like, then I realized that I kind of appreciated the 2 days. I was like, oh, this is 2 days where I don't even have to think about those.
About going to the garrison.
Sweet. I got 2 days to do whatever I want. Yeah.
But I don't have to go teleport back to my garrison and do all that shit.
Exactly. And one other thing that they did that was interesting is, I was watching, an interview with the lead designer, Ian, something. I can't remember his last name right off the top of my head. I apologize, Ian, if you're listening and you're like, why can't you remember my last name? My last name is awesome, and I'm sure it is. But I can't remember it right off the top of my head. So
you know what?
Live with it, Ian. You're going to have to live with it, Ian.
Well, if he listens to our show and the fact that he hasn't mentioned it means we don't get to have to remember his last name.
That's true.
Either.
That's true. When you remember our show and mention it,
then we'll remember your name.
Then we'll remember your last name. But they were mentioning that they, wow, that was a deep hole we went down there. They were mentioning that they wanted to de-emphasize the feeling that you need alts, in order to play. And, I think the new content has really done a great job of doing that. I no longer feel as obligated to log into my other characters unless I want to, unless I actually really want to play them for some reason. Like, I don't feel like I need to log in to do the garrison stuff because it's going to get me, you know, X, Y, or Z amount of money or something like that. Mm-hmm. They've done a good job of lessening that without necessarily lessening it on your main character. So, yeah, it's kind of nice not to feel shackled to like 7 alts or something like that.
Right.
That's been a really good feeling. I'm still kind of playing 2, but that's, you know, that's my choice. I can stop anytime I want. I can stop anytime I want.
Really, I can't. I swear I can't.
The other cool thing is, and this got introduced in the last patch, is the ability to pay for game time with gold. And, I did not think this would be something I would be able to get into, but yeah. I have basically paid for the last, 4 months of my account purely through gold. And I say the last 4, I mean the last 2 and then the next 2. I am currently paid up through August, and I could go even further with just the gold on my characters right now.
Holy shit.
Yeah. One thing that has helped is when a patch drops, it is the best time to go sell things in the auction house. Because there's so much stuff people want. And if you don't really care about it that much, or you feel like you can delay your gratification, then it is a great time to sell stuff that people want. And make a whole crap ton of money doing it, which I will admit I am a patch profiteer. That is where I stand currently, and I feel good about that. I feel real good.
I feel really good because I'm now playing this game for free until August.
Exactly. Well, I feel kind of bad because I feel kind of bad, but not that bad, because the fact that I'm playing for free means that somebody is paying more for their account. Because it's an ingenious system that Blizzard has put together here, which is you pay $20 for gold, basically, to buy the WoW token to sell it. and then somebody else pays gold to buy the token. So somebody, somewhere in the world, or many somebodies, are paying $20 a month for my account. And I'm giving them like 25,000 gold in return.
And you're sitting there not giving a shit.
Exactly. I actually, I feel fine about that because I'm sure whoever is buying that gold feels perfectly okay with it. Right. Like, they got more money than time to do this. Perfect. I've got a garrison that is producing enough gold and enough materials for me. And then the new dailies and stuff like that and all of this other crap are producing enough stuff for me that I can pretty much just coast through for at least the next couple months. So it's good stuff, and I'm perfectly in favor of this. But then I do think about it, and it's like, wow, that poor person.
So we don't think about it and think
exactly, and we
they
just
can
say
enjoy
it's free
their
to play.
25 grand.
It's free to play in heavy air quotes.
Free for me.
Exactly. So, I highly recommend, if you're not in on that train, get on it. But that has been WoW for me this month, and I'm not sure if it's good for people just jumping in. They've definitely done a lot of really good catch-up mechanics. So the new area, all of the gear that drops for it is 650, and the last LFR, which took some gearing and stuff to get into, dropped about 655. So you catch up really quickly to the gear levels and stuff like that, which is nice. It's super nice for getting people ready to raid in the new area, which we jumped into as a guild and beat the first 2 bosses. So we felt really good about that because we're not a raiding guild. We don't have like strict DPS limits and DKPs and we'll kick you if you don't fill this spot correctly. We're like, would you like to raid? Okay, come on.
Yeah, and I like me and my priest. What do you want me to do today?
Be a body.
Yeah, exactly.
If you could. Be a body and be warm.
Would you like me to throw shields around this one or just push buttons?
Why not?
What do you want me to do?
But yeah, we actually managed to take down the first 2 bosses, which felt really, really good.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was super excited for us to be able to do that. Yeah. Anyway. Oh, one last thing about WoW that they introduced, and it's not going on currently. It won't go on again, I think, until mid this month, excuse me. I'm still thinking it's June. Mid this month, they're doing time walking dungeons now. And they just had the Burning Crusade dungeons. And it was so much fun. Not only to go and revisit these dungeons, but also it was just such a nostalgic kind of treat for the most part. Like, as I was going through, I just realized, like, I remember every single pole and I remember going through here. And, so it was just a huge nostalgic treat because I'm just feeling like I'm remembering going through with like old friends and learning the dungeons. And for the BC ones, it was the first time that I discovered what I love doing in these types of games, which is tanking. And doing it with my paladin and stuff like that.
Oh, wow, you're tanking with your paladin now.
No, I'm still on my monk.
Oh, okay.
But I remember doing it with my paladin. And this was the first time that paladins could tank in an expansion.
Right.
Was Burning Crusade. And I'm really looking forward to the next one, which you may enjoy, Nate, which is Wrath of the Lich King. Is coming back towards mid-July.
Well, see, that's the thing, though. I'm actually playing. I was actually leveling a few of my alts, and they are actually in the Wrath content. So I've done a bunch of the Wrath dungeons. Right,
but it's really cool because you can use old weapons and stuff, because all of the gear scales down. So there were people using like the blades from Illidan, for example, in these dungeons. So, if you have like Shadowmourne or something like that, you can use it in the
Damn it, I never finished Shadowmourne.
Like yeah, but I mean, you can use all of this old gear, old favorites and stuff like that. And honestly, they've tuned them pretty well. I mean, they're easy. I'm not going to lie. They're not a super big challenge to go through by any means. But they've tuned them to the point where it actually feels even more than going through them on a leveling character, which I've also done that pretty recently. I went through on my rogue, and it just kind of felt like a joke running.
Right,
through.
you're just walking through.
Exactly. And this is not the case with the time walking versions. You're still going pretty quickly, but they can kill you. And I know that on more than a few of them, I wiped. My group wiped because I just overpulled because I got too excited. I was like,
right.
I'm going to pull this ribbon, and then like whomp. Like,
right, because you're in gear that's been scaled down to that level, not like in the I hate to say it, but overpowered heirloom gear.
Yeah,
because the heirloom gear is definitely overpowered for everything.
For sure. But yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. So if you're around in mid-July, definitely jump on and enjoy those. It's good stuff. WoW is doing some really good things right now, and I hate to say it, but I'm surprised by it.
I know you actually get surprised lately when it's like, oh hey, WoW did this.
WoW's doing not Blizzard, because Blizzard actually as a whole has done some pretty good things. I haven't even touched on the Hearthstone brawls. Oh my goodness! But that is going to have to be a different segment.
Another show.
Exactly, another show. I think next week I may talk about the Hearthstone brawls. If you get a chance though, check out the current one. It's really good.
Those are fun. Yeah, I will say playing.
It's the web spinner one right now.
Oh,
it's the web spinner one.
Oh.
So if you're not playing, go play now because you get to play with a deck of web spinners. It's so much fun.
Oh my
against
god!
Other
really?
people. Yeah.
You just throw it and then they come back as the random one. Ooh,
exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
That's
so you should
even
go
better than the Ragnaros versus Blackwing.
Yeah. Yeah. The banana one was pretty fun, but this one is awesome.
I missed the banana one.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll talk about the brawls and we'll get a little more depth with that, I think next week. For now, I think you have sponsored this episode of all people, which is surprising. I didn't even know you had that kind of money, but.
Yes.
Anyway, so here's a special sponsor message from, Nate. So we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Nathan. You may know me as co-host of the podcast duo You Might Have Missed It. Recently at E3, they announced that they were going to be remaking the Final Fantasy VII for the PlayStation 4. This was one of the most exciting announcements at E3 this year, and is something people have been looking forward to since the tech demo that was released way back when they were introducing the PS3. Now, my excitement over this announcement was extraordinary, up until the most recent announcement that they will be redoing the battle system and updating it to a more modern system. I personally think they shouldn't fix what is broken, and instead follow through the old nostalgic battle system. So in order to convince the director, producer, and writer of the remake to do so, I'm starting a Kickstarter to send myself to Japan so that I may personally appeal to them, with a swift kick in the nuts. That's right, this is a Kickstarter to go to Japan and kick the 3 top heads of this project in the nuts in order to convince them in...
Oh my god, it's not the goddamn ball kicking thing, is it? We can't do that, it's illegal. Get off the mic.
And we're back from that commercial. What? So yeah, but if you guys couldn't tell during the little WoW segment we just did, I actually recently canceled my account, and Adam spent that entire segment basically trying to talk me into coming back.
That was the talk Nate back into coming into WoW segment. So what have you been up to with this extra non-WoW time that you've had? Yeah.
Well, whenever I cancel WoW, the first thing I do, and this time is no different, is jump onto Steam and check out some free-to-play MMOs.
Nice. Which that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, right now, I mean, there's quite a few when it comes right down to it. I've actually got on my computer 10 of them. Yeah, so it takes 10 MMOs to fill up WoW.
See, for me, it takes 1, which is I go straight back to the Secret World.
Oh, yeah.
Right after I get off of WoW.
Believe it or not, actually, Secret World is not one of the 10 that I have.
What? It's got such good stuff right now.
I'm sorry. And Secret
There's
World
another topic that I need to talk about.
You know what, Adam? Not free to play.
It's buy to play.
It's buy one time to play. Yeah,
yes.
That's right. It's Guild Wars style.
Yes.
So does not fall under the free to play.
And technically, really, I'm just going to go into this right now, really quick. Big disclaimer. You buy it once to play, but I can guarantee that you're going to want to buy the DLCs as well.
Yeah, probably.
To get the full experience, because the full experience is so awesome. I want to talk about it.
I think we actually had an episode like that where we talked about the Secret World. Yeah, we already did the Secret World episode.
It's been updated. They finished the season.
Oh, shit.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway.
Next week, we'll be talking about Hearthstone and the Secret
World. And anything else I get excited about.
And whatever else Adam gets excited about over the course of this episode.
Exactly. All right. Anyway, your free-to-play games. You got 10 of them.
Okay, so I got 10 of them. The first one I actually jumped into when it was first actually coming over to the States. Started as a Korean one, Archeage. And I talked about it a little bit back when it was first in beta.
It's one that I've downloaded, but I haven't actually sat down and played.
Truthfully, not impressed.
Okay.
Not impressed. I would drop it.
Okay.
I'm actually kind of depressed at the fact that, because it was one of those kind of like buy-in beta kind of things. Mm-hmm. Kind of like Heroes of the Storm was a little while ago.
Yeah. Unless, of course, you got a beta invite. Like we did.
Like we did. Hell yeah, baby.
We haven't talked about Heroes of the Storm either, and they're doing their new event.
Oh, son of a bitch.
That's going on this month, and oh my gosh.
So many things.
I came in. I remember we came into this, and I was like, I don't really have any topics.
I don't have anything to talk about. Yeah.
And now I'm like, I have 15
there
topics.
There are so many things.
Anyway, we'll move on. Archeage.
Okay. So, Archeage, screw it. So, most recent one, the one that I just got, is Echo of Soul.
Echo of Soul. I've not heard of this one.
Echo of Soul.
Tell me about this.
It's actually an interesting one. They use kind of a, they kind of throw it in like Vindictus, where it's more of an action type RPG, and they actually use, like on the ground, like whenever, an enemy's attacking you, they actually put in the, little like red notification area on the ground, and you're like, use this ability or whatever to jump the fuck out of that, or it's gonna hurt like a sumbitch.
Yeah.
And there's different abilities, and you can actually do combos where it's like basically you do a starter ability and you set like you do this starter ability and you set that triggers this ability to come up, so you just hit spacebar and then it uses that ability and then you hit space, and you can actually set a chain of these.
Oh wow. And
you can actually, so you can just sit there hitting the spacebar, although if you do that while not paying attention, you're going to die. I will just say that right.
That doesn't sound good, but it sounds fun.
Yeah. If you time it perfectly and have the right distance between, like, I play the Archer. And if you have the right distance between you and the guy, and you time it right, and you use the knockback right, and you use the jump back right at the right time, then you can get through the entire chain. Otherwise, you're probably going to have to interrupt the chain, which doesn't really have any negative effects, because basically all it is you just set these skills. So it's like, okay, if I use this skill, I'm probably going to want to use this skill next, and I'm probably going to want to use this skill after that, and then this skill, and then this skill. And yeah, you just set this chain. But it's really fun. I actually just finished up the starting area, and actually a few quests after, in the normal secondary area. And it's actually really cool. They don't do the whole like a lot of free to play games, if you want a mount, you have to buy your first mount.
Yeah.
They actually give you a first mount once you get out of the starter area, which is cool.
Oh wow, that's really nice.
Yeah, I was so happy.
I would imagine.
Thank God I can ride a horse.
I can has horse.
I can has horse.
Can has horse.
Yes, I can has horse. Okay. But yeah, so Echo of Soul, good free to play game. Most of yeah, enjoyable.
Nice.
Another one I jumped into, played actually a significant amount of, is Terra.
This one I've heard of, but I feel like I've heard of it, but I've never played it.
Well,
and I don't know why.
Yeah, it started out, it's pretty old. It's pretty old, don't get me wrong. But it started out as a monthly subscription game, as all of the best free-to-play games do. Yeah, it and Rift came out at about the same time. Which Rift, another one of the free-to-play games that I recommend playing because it's awesome. Because
it's actually a lot of fun, and if you're looking for a WoW replacement, like you need that shot of WoW, but you don't want WoW, Rift is a good one to do. That's what that felt like to me. And if I had not gone back to WoW, I probably would have kept playing Rift.
Right, and truthfully, Terra, same thing.
Okay.
There's not a lot of buying stuff in Terra.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, most of their shop stuff is actually cosmetic.
That's really nice. I like that a lot.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you might have like an XP boost pot,
which is fine.
But truthfully, you might have an XP boost pot. I'm expecting that there is an XP boost pot. I have not seen an XP boost pot on the shop.
So what you're saying is that so far you've managed to stay away from pot in this game.
Yes, I have avoided pot in this game. There will be no pot.
Just say no to pot.
Say no to pot. It's a pot-free game.
In free-to-play.
Pot-free game.
It's not been legalized yet by the dev team. There's a referendum by the players trying.
Oh my god. But yeah, that and Vindictus, as I mentioned earlier, very action-packed.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the, dodge roll, that kind of thing. It's more of like a third-person adventure game than an MMO, which actually is rather entertaining. And it's free, so
there you go.
Truthfully, those are the best of the free-to-plays. I mean, there's some other ones, like I actually did find myself playing CSGO, Counter-Strike Go again.
Okay. Every time I hear CSGO, I think like Go, the Chinese game. Like basically, yeah. And every time someone says CSGO, I'm like, wow. I mean, I knew that Go had a huge following, but I didn't know that it had such a huge digital following.
CSGO.
And that's literally what I thought it was for the longest time.
Oh, damn.
Recently. Because when I started to get into like Hearthstone, on the esports side, I started hearing a lot about CSGO and, all of the other games, League of Legends, that sort of thing.
Right.
But CSGO was the only one that I couldn't readily identify the acronym for. And so for the longest time, because I was hearing it so often and associated with teams that also did Hearthstone, I thought it was a strategy
like a
game.
strategy, okay.
Exactly. I thought it was like strategy teams. Okay. That's cool. I would really love to watch some CSGO games because I don't know how to play this.
And then
which remains true regardless of which CSGO we're talking about. Which, yeah. When I finally found out, I was like, oh, I don't really want to watch these games. Never mind.
It's Counter-Strike. I came really close to playing the Mighty Quest for Epic Loot. And then realized
to pull yourself away from the edge.
Well, not even like pull myself away from the edge, like ran screaming, I don't want to do that again.
Yeah.
Fuck that game.
Yeah. I think we talked about it before and we're really excited by it. But yeah, since then I've just realized how
it starts out really, really fun, but you hit this, but the cliff of entertainment is literally like this drop down from, man, this game is awesome to, God, fuck this shit.
Well, it happens so fast and it happens so suddenly.
Yes.
Like, it's not a slow, gentle decline to not being fun. It is literally like a cliff edge.
Oh yeah, no, you come
that you are barreling down towards.
Yeah, you basically come to a point where it's like, no, fuck these dungeons.
Yeah, you're not only running, you are running on like a moving sidewalk.
Yeah.
Towards that cliff edge, and it's like, nope, I'm out.
Yeah, at first, you're running on that moving sidewalk, and you're like, hey, moving sidewalk, going real fast.
This is the coolest
Feel
thing
of the
ever.
wind is awesome. And then you hit the cliff at the end of it, and you're like, what the fuck? Yeah, terrible.
All right. Well, that sounds pretty cool. It sounds like there's some really, really great games out there, so at least as far as the free-to-play goes, and, kind of MMO replacements for WoW.
Mm-hmm.
Mention again, which one was the third-person one?
Vindictus.
Okay. I might have to check that out.
It's
and
fun.
Have you kind of guide me through that a little bit at some point. Because that's definitely a different style of game than most MMOs I'm used to.
Oh, yeah, it's
might have
fun.
to check that out.
I could definitely, truthfully, I recommend if you do play it, controller.
Okay.
As if that's not the most fucked up thing to say about an MMO.
No, not really. I mean,
About an
MMO.
Okay, maybe about an MMO. All right.
It's like, all right,
yes.
a lot of third-person adventure games. Yeah, controller, duh. But this game, yeah.
Yeah, well, luckily I have one that I bought specifically for Dark Souls, so
there you go.
We should be good to. Actually, I bought it specifically for Gauntlet, which I never really got to use it on that. Like I can't seem to get people together for that. So,
sorry.
I'll keep trying though.
Yeah,
anyway, so
this week was supposed to be my Batman Arkham episode.
There was something about that happened.
Something happened with Batman Arkham.
It was probably nothing major, like the game not working.
Like the game not working at all. And, still one patch in, and they still haven't fixed it.
Yeah.
And
Anyway, well, you've paid for the next segment, and against my better judgment. Here's Nate with our sponsored message. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Nathan. My apologies for the previous interruption, but I'm here now to let you know about the features of this Kickstarter. The goal, as stated before, will be to kick the developers of the Final Fantasy VII Remake in the nuts to convince them not to change the battle system. Now, for a mere $25 donation, I will say your name as I kick them in the nuts. For a $50 donation, I will wear a logo of your choosing on the jacket I wear as I kick them in the nuts. For a $100 donation, I will send you a picture taken at the time of impact as I kick them in the nuts. For a $500 donation, you yourself may be present as I kick them in the nuts. So please, donate today and help me be the deciding factor with a swift kick in the nuts.
And we're back. So, next segment, we've got... Oh, fuck.
God damn it. All right, next segment is mine. Because that was not comfortable.
Sorry, dude, you wouldn't stop.
We're going to talk about Terraria.
Okay.
Because they just released a new patch. And this week I'm just talking about patched games. Not new games to us, but patched games.
Patched games.
And I want to talk about Terraria, and the fact that I just spent the last few minutes tied to a goddamn chair gives me the right.
Sorry.
Yeah, you should be. Okay. Deep breaths in, anger out. Deep breaths in, anger out.
Forgive for the show, dude. Forgive for the show.
Fine. All right. So talking about Terraria, it is a kind of 2D Minecraft-y adventure game. Heavier emphasis on the adventure side, though. Very much a platformer type of game. If you haven't played it, it's a lot of fun. It's actually worth checking out. And you can usually find it for sale on Steam pretty often. If not, if you keep an eye on like Humble Bundles, sometimes it shows up there.
Yeah, I'd almost say like if you haven't played it, what rock have you been under?
Exactly. And the most recent update has done something really interesting. One, it's added some new late game stuff, which they do on occasion. And it's actually a lot of fun. A lot of the late game stuff that I had a chance to go through. I actually spent, I think, the last like 4 or 5 hours playing it.
Yeah, we're recording this late.
Yeah. Like I was playing it, and one of the other guys I was playing with mentions like, oh, it's this time. And I'm like, oh God, it's this time. We need to start recording.
We need to do a show. So yeah he was playing Terraria and I was watching Sherlock. So this is a late recording.
This is our late edition. But I was playing through. One thing that we decided to do is we wanted to check out some changes to early game content, which I haven't had a chance to really see yet. But they also introduced a new level of difficulty for the game itself. So previously you kind of adjusted the difficulty by the type of character you played, which there were softcore characters, which you die, you don't lose any items, you lose a little gold. So the death penalty is annoying, but it's not too bad. And then you had like medium characters where you would lose some items when you died. A little bit more like Minecraft, but you still respawn. And then of course there's hardcore mode, where if you die, you're done. The character is, deleted or turned into softcore or whatever. I haven't played hardcore. I'm not really a hardcore type of player by any means, which you can tell by my opinions of like roguelikes, obviously with one exception. But they added but for all of that, there was like one mode of play, which was normal. You know, all of the enemies were kind of flat rate, as far as difficulty goes. And it didn't really change. And that made it a problem when it came to like multiplayer type of experiences. And also for people who maybe wanted to revisit the game with their high level characters and still find a challenge. And this expert mode actually does two things really well. And the first is obviously gives expert mode, and, you know, older long time players a new challenge for their characters. The second thing it does, and this really surprised me, is, there were 3 of us playing the game and kind of going through and we're like, hey, let's make a new world. Let's, you know, make some new characters and check out some of the early game stuff. And then we just kind of had the crazy idea, like, you know, whatever. Actually, I had the crazy idea and then I just made them go along with it. I'm going to make the world expert. And they're like, wait, what? Like harder enemies, more health, all of this stuff. Are you sure you want to do that? And I'm like, yeah, let's just check it out. If it's too tough, if it's, you know, annoying, we can just leave the world and start a new one on normal. The thing that I found out though, as we were going through, is it made the game interesting for the 3 of us, because all of a sudden it wasn't like we could all just go off and do our own thing and kind of build up the characters and stuff like that, and then meet up again for like bosses or something like that. We needed each other to survive in this world. You know, we needed each other to watch each other's backs while we're mining stuff. The 3 of us had to kind of be together to kill early game monsters and stuff like that.
Shit.
And it was so much fun. Because suddenly it's not like, oh, we're all going in our own separate directions and exploring the world that way. It became like 3 travelers in the same world, and we had to travel together or die type of thing. Like, we could split up a little bit in the opening area and get stuff done once we had built some weapons and stuff like that that we could actually use. But at the beginning of the game, it's just like, oh my God, these will kill us if we're alone. You know, we need to be together to beat this slime or beat back this zombie invasion or something like that. Oh, jeez. And so we're like huddled together in a room, you know, waiting for the zombies to pass or waiting for the slimes to go away. And then when it finally came and we knew that they would end, we would go out and, you know, clear them out slowly and then work our way outwards to try and, you know, mine some stuff or cut down some trees to get materials and stuff like that.
Oh, jeez.
And it's the most fun that I've had in a game in a little while, in a multiplayer game like this. So the expert mode, really good, like really surprisingly good, and not for the reason you expect. As far as some of the new end game content, it's actually pretty tough. I have an older character. I have not been, this is the first patch that I've played in probably like a year and a half or so. So I still have some of the end game armor from before times. And they've made some new items and stuff like that. But the new content is interesting. It's fun to play through. It's actually really cool. The way that they've changed up some of the enemies and, changed up some of the challenges as well. So if you're a longtime player, there's some new stuff that makes it, a lot of fun to come back, and a lot of new content, to experience that you're not just going to breeze through this time around. A lot of it is that, you know, they've made the enemies sacks of hit points, so you can't just like burn them down really quickly, but it's sacks of hit points with interesting, damage mechanics and stuff like that. So, no, it's a lot of fun, and it caught me off guard how much fun I had with it, to the point where I was like, do we really need to record an episode tonight? And I'm like, yes, I owe it to you, the listener. I need to let you know about how much fun I'm having right now.
With Terraria.
So, yeah, I definitely recommend going and playing that if you get a chance. Have some fun with it.
I'm downloading it again.
Yes. Really, this has all been a pitch to get Nate to come back to WoW, which actually I don't really care if that happens.
But Terraria,
I want to play that game with you
because we can stream that shit.
Exactly. It's so much fun. To the point where when I had to, because I was hosting the world at the time, to the point where I'm like, you guys need to keep playing while I go do the podcast. So we ended up going through this process because when you host the world, you also kind of own the world. So I ended up transferring it to one of the other players.
Oh shit!
So that he could keep going in the same world.
And then when we're done with the podcast, you're gonna jump back in.
Probably yes.
Okay, well then I'm gonna take a break after we're done here. Gonna go, and then I'll record the commercial.
Okay, all right. I mean, we've already recorded
the commercials. We don't do this afterwards. We don't plan it. All this shit is live. All of it.
All live.
All live.
We'll do it live.
Always.
We're like Bill O'Reilly. We'll do it live. Damn it.
Wow. I never want to be compared to that guy.
No, me neither. Anyway, unlike Bill O'Reilly, we're probably actually very much like him. You can talk to us on Twitter. Although you'll actually talk to us and not a poor underpaid intern. We are our own underpaid interns, damn it.
And we'll respond, too.
And we'll respond, yeah. And not by screaming at you and trying to get truthiness out.
Or a copy-paste little bullshit thing.
Exactly. Anyway, you can catch us on Twitter at YMHMI, over on Facebook, also facebook.com/YMHMI. You can catch our replays of our non-existent Twitch channel over at youtube.com/you might have missed it, where you can also listen to replays of the podcast itself, if you're not already listening there. And then you can, I think that's actually it.
Facebook, Twitter,
you can
Twitch,
call us.
YouTube,
you can call me at this. No. If you just need to discuss, or maybe somebody to watch your dog. I don't know. Whatever you need.
Messages.
Yes, messages. You can find I think we actually have a Steam group. We'll have to figure out how to get that linked in. But you can look us up. You might have missed it on Steam.
Yeah, the Steam group is YMHMI.
YMHMI. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have some cool curated stuff there. And if there's more interest on that, if you guys want to join up with that, maybe play some games with us, you can catch us on there. In any case, thanks for listening, and we will catch you next week.
Oh, well, of course. You have to.
Well, no, have you gone online and seen the
doing
the
stream
live stream?
Of, I haven't watched the live stream of the last 10 years of episodes.
It's so weird, and I think this will be the kicker, but so I've been watching the Daily Show live stream that they're doing, which is the last 10 years of the Daily Show. And so they've started from the beginning of Jon Stewart's run.
Uh-huh.
And that's weird enough to begin with. Not because he looks so young, but because of how low budget the show actually looks and how it's running.
Oh.
Because they basically took it over directly from Craig Kilborn, who no one remembers anymore, except that he hosted the Daily Show before Jon Stewart.
Right.
But it doesn't seem like they had a lot in the budget after the transition, because like Jon Stewart's suits were too big for him. So he not only looks younger than he does now, he just looks like he is absolutely swimming in his suits in those early episodes. And now we're past, like, the last time that I was watching, I watched through basically all of the year 2000 election coverage.
Oh, jeez.
Which is so weird to revisit, because obviously I remember that. I remember all of that stuff. The Gore and Bush.
Yeah.
The voting recounts.
Florida thing.
The Florida thing. All of this. And, like, now you're kind of like, you can downplay in your mind how major all of that was. But watching it again, I just remembered, like, oh my God, this was so close. Like, if there was, like, like alternate history stories.
Uh-huh.
If there were, like, one of those, like, linchpin moments, like, like, what if Germany had won World War II or something like that?
Right.
People explore that.
What if Florida had gone to Gore?
Yeah, what if it had gone to Gore? Because it so easily could have.
You should see, there's a movie, it's Jet Li movie, The One.
Yeah, no, I remember that movie. I remember a huge fan of it in like high school or middle school or something like that.
Yeah, and they did that whole thing where like one side it was all futuristic and they had like epic technology and whatnot, and they went to Gore being president, and then they go to the alternate one, which is today, they have the standard crap and all the whatever, and it's Bush as president, and I thought that was one of the funniest little like kind of stabs at him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I actually wonder, the one thing that kind of got me thinking is like kind of the cascade of events that happened after that, but would we have had our first black president?
Ooh.
Had Bush not won?
Huh.
And I think the answer is no.
You're right. Probably not. But you also have to look at,
or had Gore won, excuse me.
But actually, even that rolls down to stuff that's happening now.
Mm-hmm.
Because the EPA, the Supreme Court of the United States knocking out the EPA thing this week. Most of the people who voted no on that on the Supreme Court are actually Bush appointees.
Yeah.
So would that have happened had Gore won? And yeah.
No, and here's the question: would we be having Vice President Palin right now if Gore had won? Or here's my other theory is that Hillary Clinton would have won the presidency.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And these are weird things that I was thinking about because she would have had the support because the Clinton administration would have just continued forward.
Oh, that's true.
Through the next at least 4 years, if not, because I also suspect that whoever won that election probably was a shoe-in to win the next one.
To win the next
because
one, right.
The one thing that would have still happened, regardless of who was the president at the time, would have been 9/11.
Right. 9/11 was basically written in stone. And the reaction to that is easily pretty, well, actually, it's pretty predictable, but also like, would we have had Afghanistan and Iraq?
I think we would have, regardless of who was president.
Afghanistan, I don't know about Iraq though. That's the iffy one.
Because I don't think it was necessary, and this gets into like a lot of like inside knowledge and stuff like that I don't have. But I think a lot of the intelligence that was acted on wasn't necessarily lies from like the president or misinformation from the executive office. I think it was actually like intelligence, and so even if we had Democratic president, Gore in this case, in office at the time, I still think the same decision would have been reached. I think that's my thought anyway. I could be completely wrong because obviously trying to predict the future is hard, and trying to predict alternate futures harder.
Yeah, is just as hard.
Just as difficult. So
alternate realities, the past of alternate reality. Well, I mean, then we can get into like, the every decision you make, a different reality split happens.
Yeah. And so all of this from watching old Daily Show episodes has been going through my mind. So I recommend watching them because,
I'd say.
And the funniest thing is, early on, they had the elections where, in Russia, where Gorbachev, left power, around like 99, I think it was. Mm-hmm. And, some guy named, Putin, something like that, took power. Yeah, some random, I don't know, he's probably not going to be important later. It's kind of it's the vibe you get from like the Daily Show watching that is they think his name is funny.
Oh my God. Yeah, this guy's going to be nothing later on.
Yeah,
nobody's going to talk about anything.
Who even cares about Russia?
Oh God.
Anyway, so yeah, if you get a chance, you should go check some of that out. 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 Go check